All right, welcome to section 7.6. This is line graphs. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of what line graphs are today. We're going to fill out our note sheet that you should have picked up when you walked in the door. And I'll give you some time to work on your homework, and then we'll go over it a little bit more tomorrow if we need to. Your math prep packets are still due tomorrow. I will answer questions about them before we grade them on Friday. So come with it completely done, and you can check some of your answers while we go over some of the harder questions. So your notebook should be out, and here is your warm up. So when you are ready, take about 5 minutes and get this warm up done, and then Alright, so just some quick graphing refreshers. The x coordinate of the point 2, 3 is 2, and the other coordinate is the y coordinate. So to plot the point 3, 7, you would move right 3 units and up 7 units, okay? So the x coordinate tells you left versus right, and if you'll go left, it'll be negative, okay? And the y coordinate tells you up versus down, okay? To plot the point 4, negative 5, would you move left or right first? And you're going to move right because this is a positive number. Then you would move down negative 5. So you have a problem of the day. Okay, so you're going to number in your notebooks 1, 2, and 3, and you are going to find 3 mistakes on this graph. Okay, take a couple minutes, pause this video, work with someone next to you, and find 3 mistakes on this graph. Go ahead. All right, the first error that I see is that on this side, it is not equal intervals. Remember, when we make a graph, they must go up by the same amount. Another thing that that is a mistake is that Monday should start all the way over. So Monday needs to move to the left. And lastly, there's this point up here that's not included. When you have points in a line graph, which is what this is, they must be included in your line. So it would have had to go like that, from that point of Wednesday up to Thursday down to Friday. Okay? Get down your objective. I will learn to display and analyze data in line graphs. Once again, I'm going to go pretty quickly through this since I can't stop and ask you questions along the way. And just kind of follow along, keep up with your notes. If you need to pause this at any time, you can to keep writing. And I'll keep going. I will learn to display and analyze data in line graphs. So here's your vocabulary that you need to be filling in on your blue sheet. A line graph uses line segments to connect data points. The result is a visual record of change. So you can use a line graph to show how data changes over a period of time. Okay, so your 2 vocab words are line graph and then over a period of time. So there's some steps for line graphs. Step 1 is to determine the scale and interval for each axis. Remember, they need to be equal intervals. Place the units of time on the horizontal axis. Step 2 is plot a point for each pair of values. Connect the points using line segments. And then we need to label the axes and give the graph a title. So lots of things we need to keep in mind. So we need to make a line graph for of the data in the table, and during which 2-hour period did the temperature change the most? That's the question we're trying to answer. During which 2-hour period did the temperature change the most? So the first point that I'm going to plot is 11 a.m. and 80 degrees. So I'm going to go over to 11 a.m. and up to 80 degrees. You'll notice there's this little squiggly line here. This is called a break in the graph. Okay, this is a visual aid to let the reader of the graph know that they're not starting right at 0. It's because all of the numbers are up in the 75 to 95 range. They didn't want 0 to 75 being blank. Okay, and let's look at 1 p.m. and 88. So you go to 1 p.m. 88 is between 85 and 90. Plot that point. Next one is 3 p.m. and 92. and then 5 p.m. and 89. And then remember, since this is a line graph, I need to connect the line segments. Okay? And it says, during which 2-hour period did the temperature change the most? Where was the line the steepest? And in this case, the line was the steepest between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's when there was the most change. Next example, create a line graph of this data between what 2 months were the most houses sold. So between what 2 months were the most houses sold is what I'm trying to answer. In January, there were 8. February, that was that data point. I'm trying to do different colors to show you. February, there was 6. March, there is 15. In April, there is 23. You need to make sure you create a line. And it says between what 2 months were the most houses sold? And hold on one second. So between February and March, the most houses were sold because from February to March would be 9 houses, and then March to April is only 8. So between February and March, the most houses were sold. Let's look at the next vocab term. A double line graph shows the change over time for 2 sets of data. So we have a line graph, which is 1 set of data, and a double line graph, which is 2 sets of data. Okay, so this table shows stock prices for 2 stocks in 1 week. Make a double line graph of the data. Okay, so stock A, I'm going to make a little chart or a little key. This is going to be A, is going to be red. So Monday is 10. So Monday, it's not labeled, or the intervals are kind of tricky. Monday is 10, Tuesday 9, Wednesday 11, Thursday 10, Friday 8. Okay, and those were all of those terms. Then you need to connect your line. And this one is going to be stock B. So stock B was $6 on Monday, $12 on Tuesday, $8 Wednesday, Thursday 14, and Friday 14. Make sure you connect those dots and don't forget any. Okay, there wasn't any question to answer on that one. That was just graphing the 2 lines. We're going to do one more, stock prices again. These are different numbers though, so be aware. My orange is going to be A, and these are my orange numbers. So 8 and 10 and 6 and 4, and lastly 8. Connect that line. Excuse me. And then we need to do, oh no, where'd it go? Come back. And we need to do stock B, which is 4, and 14, 12, 14, and 12. So 4, 14, 12, 14, 12. Connect all the line A's, all the line B's, and there is your double line graph. So that's all I have for you on double line graphs. You may do several things with the rest of your time. You may start your homework. It is section 7.6 practice B. You may work on map prep questions. Remember, those are due tomorrow. And you may also get out your white basic skills refresher sheet that you started on Tuesday. You were to have finished the integer rules section, but there's more in there that you are able to do. So those are your 3 options, and I'll see you on Friday.